I told him he wasn't enough for me anymore, thinking he'd fight to prove me wrong. Instead, he erased me from his world. My name is Brooke. I'm 27, and I truly didn't see this coming. Lucas and I had been together for 9 months. In the beginning, it felt perfect. He'd surprise me with thoughtful presents, plan sweet dates, and reply to my texts almost instantly. But slowly things shifted. His replies took hours. He barely noticed when I dressed up, and twice he even fell asleep during our movie nights. My best friend Amy always says, "You set the tone for how people treat you early on, or you'll regret it later." So when I saw Lucas getting too comfortable, I decided to remind him of my worth. Nothing crazy, just a small wake-up call. I thought I'd tell him I needed more, that he wasn't giving enough, and he'd panic, realize what he was risking, beg for another chance, maybe show up with flowers. Our relationship would feel brand new again. At least that was the plan. I invited him over, sat him down and said, "Lucas, this isn't working for me anymore. You're not as attentive as before." Then I added, "Honestly, I deserve better." I even paused dramatically, waiting for his reaction. But instead of defending himself, he just looked at me for a moment and calmly said, "If that's how you feel, I won't waste your time." Then he stood up and left. No begging, no argument, no emotion, just gone. Froze. That wasn't the ending I expected. Still, I assumed he'd cool off and call that night. Maybe a few drinks would push him to reach out. But the call never came. I checked my phone constantly, convinced I'd missed something. Nothing. By morning, my shock turned into anger. I opened Instagram, only to realize he had blocked me. Not just there, everywhere. Facebook, Snapchat, even LinkedIn. My calls went straight to voicemail, my texts didn't deliver. He hadn't just walked away. He had deleted me completely. Panicking, I rang Amy. "He blocked me everywhere," I blurted, nearly shouting. "Relax," she muttered, half asleep. "It's part of the game. He's just trying to make you sweat." "This doesn't feel like a game," I said, pacing the room. "He's never done anything like this." "That means your plan worked. You pushed him, now he's reacting. Trust me, he'll come back." I wanted to believe her, but something felt off. I asked a mutual friend if she was blocked too. She wasn't. Instead, she told me Lucas had already changed his status to single and posted a quote about knowing your worth. Just hours after we ended, he was moving on. Days passed. Then a week. Still silence. I told myself I didn't care, tried not to check my phone, but I was lying. I even drove past his place, pretending it was just coincidence. Amy swore he'd return. So did others. "No guy walks away after 9 months without looking back," they said. But Lucas did. 1 week turned into 2, then 3, then 4. A month of silence, as if I'd never existed. Eventually, I faced a painful truth. Maybe this wasn't about exposing his feelings. Maybe it revealed mine. Because now that he was gone, I didn't just miss the attention or the comfort of having a boyfriend. I missed him. His terrible jokes, his obsession with strange history shows, the way he instinctively knew when I needed space or a hug. That's when I realized I had messed up. One night at Amy's place, sipping wine and pretending I was fine, I grabbed her phone. "Let me see your Instagram." I searched Lucas's profile. A month since I'd seen it, and what I found hit me hard. There he was, smiling at bars I didn't know, out hiking though he claimed to hate it, even sharing about a new coding class. The caption read, "Expanding my skills. Never too late to start over." He looked genuinely happy. "He looks good," I said, my voice unsteady. "It's fake," Amy scoffed, taking back her phone. "He just wants you to think he's moved on." But I wasn't convinced. His smile didn't seem fake, it looked real. That night I created a fake Instagram. I told myself it was to monitor him, to know when to reach out, but deep down I was just searching for proof he still missed me. I didn't find any. If anything, he was thriving, posting more with a sharper haircut, career updates. Meanwhile, I was stuck analyzing everything. I drove past his place more often. Once, I even saw him leaving with his friend Axel, both laughing. I ducked in my seat, my chest pounding. There he was, living, laughing, moving on, while I hid in my car, waiting for proof I hadn't ruined everything. My desperation started bleeding into my work. Reports were filled with errors. My boss pulled me aside, asking if something was wrong. I brushed it off as personal stuff. But the truth was, I was falling apart. Nights were restless, filled with replays of our last talk, rewriting it in my head. I wrote long texts I never sent. He had blocked me anyway. When I brought him up yet again, I saw Taylor and Jessica exchange looks. "Don't you think it's time to move on?" Jessica asked gently. "It's been a month." "I am moved on," I snapped, even as I scrolled through old photos of us, pretending I was just curious. But I wasn't. Cared more than ever. Regret weighed heavier each day. It wasn't just that my plan had failed. I had thrown away something real just to feel in control. 6 weeks into the silence, I finally decided. Enough was enough. If Lucas wouldn't reach out, I'd face him in person. He couldn't block me face to face. That Saturday I wore the outfit he loved most, styled my hair just right, and drove to his place. My pulse hammered as the door opened, and there he stood, visibly surprised. Before he could speak, I launched into the speech I had rehearsed endlessly. "Lucas, when I said you weren't enough, I didn't mean it. I was testing you, hoping you'd fight for us. When you didn't, it hurt me. But I'm here, ready to give us another chance, if you can be more attentive this time." I braced myself for relief, for a hug, for forgiveness. Instead, he stared at me. "You were testing me?" he asked flatly. "Well, yeah," I answered, slightly thrown. "Women do that all the time. It's normal." He gave a dry, humorless laugh. "So you ended things just to see if I'd chase you, and now you're here to take me back?" "I'm offering us another chance," I replied, firmer this time. "But you failed, Lucas. You blocked me when you should have fought." He studied me for a long moment before shaking his head. "Brooke, that's not how relationships work. They need honesty, trust, and respect, not games." Without another word, he closed the door. I stood frozen, then knocked again, pleading, demanding, but he never opened it. After 10 humiliating minutes, I left, my face burning. How dare he reject me after everything? Back home, I called Amy in a fury. He slammed the door in my face. "That's so immature," she agreed. Fueled by her words, I messaged Taylor and Jessica too. Soon, the three of them were bombarding Lucas with texts, saying he was being unreasonable, that testing was normal, and that he was overreacting. "He needs to hear it's not just you, it's a consensus," Amy urged. I went to bed certain this would fix everything. Instead, I woke up to find Lucas had blocked all of them too. Worse, his Instagram, the only glimpse I had left into his life, was now private. I'd been completely cut off. That's when things spiraled. I began showing up at his favorite spots. His cafe, his gym, even outside his office. Sometimes I caught a glimpse of him, but he always noticed me instantly. His face hardening before he turned away. I started telling mutual friends a twisted version of the story, framing myself as the one abandoned without reason. At first, they sympathized, but it didn't last. Lucas had his own circle, and soon the tide shifted. People grew distant. Everything unraveled at Zach's birthday party. I knew Lucas would be there, so I dressed carefully, wanting to look effortless and enviable. When our eyes met, he quickly looked away. After a few drinks, I snapped. "So, you're just going to act like I don't exist?" I said loudly. He sighed. "Brooke, this isn't the time." "When is the time? You've blocked me everywhere." "Maybe you should move on," he said, as if it were simple. Something in me cracked. "You want to know why I really broke up with you? 'Cause you were boring. Predictable. I was tired of pretending to care about your dumb hobbies." "Enough," he cut sharply, turning to the small crowd forming around us. "I'm sorry for the scene. Brooke and I ended things a while ago. She said I wasn't enough. I accepted it and moved on. Since then, she's created fake accounts, shown up at my place, and even had her friends harass me. I tried to interrupt, but he continued, pulling out his phone. Here are the texts. And here's security footage of her outside my apartment last week. The room fell silent. People stared, some whispering, some looking away. Judgment burned on their faces. Pity. Disgust. You're twisting everything, I said weakly. Jessica touched my arm. Let's go, she whispered. As we left, I caught murmurs behind me. Always thought something was off about her. Who tests someone like that? Poor Lucas. I had come to the party thinking I could win him back. Instead, I had destroyed what little reputation I had left. In the following weeks, invitations stopped. Texts went unanswered. Even Taylor and Jessica began pulling away. Only Amy stayed, though even she started telling me to move on. Then I saw it. A photo on a mutual friend's page. Lucas, his arm around a woman I didn't recognize. She was effortlessly pretty, smiling brightly. The caption read, "Fun night with these two. Nice to see you happy at Lucas Mitchell. Happy with someone else." Her tag led me to her profile. Public. Piper Williams, a graphic designer. I spent hours scrolling through her pictures, dissecting every detail. The dog, the hiking trips, the craft beer. Things Lucas never cared about with me. I compared myself endlessly. I told myself I was prettier, more stylish, more fun. She looked like someone who'd happily stay in on a Friday night. Surely Lucas would get bored soon. But as more photos surfaced, I had to admit the truth. Lucas didn't look bored. He looked happy. Deeply, genuinely happy. Relaxed in ways I rarely saw when we were together. She's just a rebound, Amy insisted when I showed her the pictures. Guys always swing the other way after a breakup. It won't last. I clung to that theory like a lifeline. Lucas and Piper couldn't be serious. He was only with her to get over me. Soon he'd remember what we had. But days turned into weeks, and they were still going strong. Meanwhile, my life felt empty. Work was something I merely survived. Friendships strained, even Amy's patience thinning whenever I brought him up. I tried dating apps, but every guy reminded me of Lucas. None of them measured up. After a handful of miserable first dates, I deleted the apps and gave up. Instead, I poured all my energy into watching Lucas and Piper. I spun entire stories in my head about how wrong they were for each other. How Lucas must secretly be unhappy and just putting on a front. On my worst days, I even messaged him from new numbers. Sometimes pretending to be someone else, sometimes just begging for a reply. Each time he blocked me. Eventually Amy, Taylor, and Jessica sat me down. "This isn't healthy, Brooke," Jessica said gently. "It's been months. You have to let it go." Taylor added, "I'm worried about you. You're not yourself anymore. It's like Lucas is all you think about." Even Amy, who had always defended me, sighed and admitted, "He's moved on. And you need to as well." I promised I would try, but the second they left, I was back on Piper's Instagram, scrolling for hours, desperate to spot cracks in their perfect life. But there weren't any. If anything, they seemed closer. Lucas was appearing in Piper's family photos. They went on weekend trips. Every picture showed them happy, relaxed, completely in sync. That's when it hit me. Lucas wasn't coming back. Not in a rebound phase. Not in a temporary way. He was gone for good. That wasn't how I imagined things would end. I thought I'd move on first, meet someone incredible, and show Lucas exactly what he'd lost. Instead, 6 months after the breakup, I found myself at a coffee shop near my apartment. Or rather, I went there because Lucas had tagged it online, hoping I'd accidentally run into him. There he was, sitting with Piper in the corner, leaning over her laptop, looking effortless together. A wave of jealousy surged through me. I forced a smile and walked over. "Lucas," I said as if it were a surprise. They both looked up. His relaxed expression hardened instantly. Piper's glance told me she knew exactly who I was. "Brooke," Lucas said shortly, giving me a small nod. We were just leaving. Please, I blurted quickly. Just 5 minutes. I need closure. He hesitated, then looked at Piper. She gave his hand a squeeze and stepped away, staying close enough to watch. I slid into the seat across from him, my confidence faltering. You look good, I said weakly. He didn't smile. What do you want, Brooke? His voice wasn't cruel, but it carried firm boundaries. I don't understand how you moved on so fast, I admitted, my voice cracking. We were together for 9 months. Didn't that mean anything to you? He let out a quiet sigh. Of course it did. But it ended the moment you decided I wasn't enough. And everything you've done since has only proven I made the right choice. I was hurt, I protested. You blocked me everywhere. You didn't even give me a chance to explain. There was nothing to explain, he said evenly. You made your decision. I respected it. I chose to move on cleanly. It was a test, I admitted desperately. A stupid test that went too far. He gave me a look that was closer to pity than anger. Relationships shouldn't have tests, Brooke. And the fact that you still don't understand, that's why we never would have worked. Tears burned in my eyes. So that's it. You just replace me and move on. I didn't replace you. Piper and I are completely different. It's healthy. It's real. He paused, then added, and there's something I need to tell you. I filed for a restraining order. His words hit like a punch. You're joking. It goes into effect tomorrow, he said quietly. I didn't want to, but you've left me no choice. A restraining order. Are you serious? I whispered. Yes. The new numbers. The fake accounts. Showing up everywhere I go. Has to stop. This isn't about today. It's been 6 months. I opened my mouth to argue, but the look in his eyes silenced me. He stood, walked back to Piper, and she gave me one last look. Not smug, not gloating, just sad. Then they left. I sat frozen. The coffee shop was strangely quiet. I realized people were watching. 2 women at the next table whispered. Some people can't take a hint, one said. Total psycho, the other replied. You can tell he tried to be nice. I wanted to scream at them, tell them they knew nothing, but then I caught my reflection in the window. Wild eyes, smeared makeup, clenched fist. I looked exactly like the person they thought I was. For one terrifying moment, I saw myself from the outside, not as the heartbroken girl wronged by love, but as the obsessive ex. The one who couldn't let go. The one who couldn't take no for an answer. Cold clarity sliced through me. Had I really become that person? Even as the truth crashed over me, part of me scrambled for excuses. If only Lucas hadn't taken the test so seriously. If only he had fought for me. If only he hadn't fallen for Piper so fast. None of this would have happened. I gathered my things and left, every glance following me out like a weight on my shoulders. Outside, life moved on. Dogs walked, people carried groceries, laughter spilled from phone calls, while my own life felt like it had collapsed. No boyfriend, fading friendships, a ruined reputation, and now a legal document branding me a threat. All of it born from one reckless decision that spiraled beyond my control. As I walked to my car alone, the heavy truth pressed down. Maybe, just maybe, I had done this to myself. But truly owning that, really taking responsibility, was something I still wasn't ready for.